champion arise, we shall win. Oh, we're stronger and alive, we shall win. Let another spiritual war begin. They'll say it could not be done until they see it come. They'll say it could not be you until you know it's you, my friend. My friend. When they humble pop your bubble, they don't ever see it come. They tumble to the magic of the word and the sound forever. That's my belief. Now they come around and asking who that. Tell them it's the children of Judah, breaker of the chain and the ruler. Everybody spreading, everybody singing, everybody saying, a champion arise, we shall win. Champion arise, we shall win. Whoa, we're stronger and alive, we shall win. Let another spiritual war begin. So don't you believe everything that you've been told? You can be bought for shekels, neither with silver and gold. Cross the land, I know that story will be told. Tell it to the hills and the mountains to the west. Who that? Tell them it's the children of Judah, breaker of the chain and a ruler. Everybody saying. I started the year very optimistic, because if you look at the trajectory of the year before, Ghana, the whole of Africa, everybody was very excited. There was a troop of people from all around the diaspora who had come and joined our country to celebrate, shall I say, a new kind of beginning where we were seeing an unprecedented number of African Americans and people from the diaspora coming to experience Ghana, the year of return, So I was seeing the 2020 that we were going to take all of this momentum and get into the year just roaring, roaring in terms of, first of all, music, roaring in terms of connection of the motherland to the diaspora, roaring in terms of, a new perspective that, okay, Africa, we're turning a great corner, But the beginnings were great because in February, I was part of a big trip that went to the Middle East. I was part of about 40 religious leaders and community leaders and spiritual leaders and cultural leaders. We traveled to Jordan. We were in Palestine and we were also in Israel. And everybody was very, very optimistic about how the year was starting. But then that was also around the time too that the news started breaking about the virus. So as we were traveling through airports, everybody was saying, there was something going on around the world, and hopefully this could be arrested before anything happens. So I came to Ghana in preparation for the rest of the year, and then also preparing for the summer concert series and all the great concerts that I had already lined up for me, around the world and in Europe and in America. I got here, things started falling apart. The Wuhan thing got out of control. It started happening in Europe. All the airports started being blocked. All of a sudden, I saw every ticket that I had of returning. There was even no airport, to even be able to travel through, So what I felt that it did was that all of a sudden, you can never plan. You could make plans, but as they say, man proposes, God disposes. When we started in Ghana here, I remember, I grew up in Koforidua. So there was like no radio station, no means, no studio. So when you are somebody who thought about being a musician, you knew that you had to be able to get closer to Accra in order for you to even get opportunity to pitch the producers, And those days too, you had only a few radio stations, and those radio stations too, you could not get your music exposed anywhere unless you went through the gateway of the radio, and also the gateway of the producers who will sign you, record you, and market you. So that time it really, when you were doing any music that was not conforming to the accepted trends, you were usually, it was usually an uphill task, because when I came, I remember, I had opportunity of getting close to Accra because I was accepted into the University of Ghana. So when I came, the first day I came to campus, I started, the following day I was out in Accra shopping my demo, and the demo was just me singing on a cassette tape with one of my friends humming the bass line. For me, that was what a demo was, So I'll go and play it for these guys, and they'll say, hey, your voice, no, you're fine. And so now, and you out your phone, you out to the send you Ghana had a bed the so we didn't have the opportunity of, let's say, the internet, where you could record your thing and put it on the internet and then share it, and the following day, so many people will see it. This was hand-to-hand combat and hand-to-hand exposure. So you had to find the right gatekeepers to let you in. And I think that also developed a mindset for me where I knew that, if I wanted it, I had to constantly innovate and create my own path, And so I traveled to the United States because I knew that, I wanted to create a musical form that was global. And I also wanted to learn the music industry. So Los Angeles was actually a destination for me because that was the hub of music around the world. Popular musical culture had its hub in Los Angeles. So I went to live there to learn and, started a club there, worked, made money, came to Ghana and recorded my album on my own terms without needing a producer to do it, because I knew that if I was waiting for the producers, that would never happen. I think that moment came when, after I had, it had been years of, pushing my music, playing on festivals, having my music spread through America and all of that. And then we got a call, my management got a call from Hollywood Bowl. Hollywood Bowl is like the holy grail of performance stages in the world. It's like every major performer, the Beatles to all of them, all of them, their Hollywood Bowl performances are seen as a key part of their career. So when you play on that stage, that means you've arrived, But the beautiful thing about this was that Hollywood Bowl put together a concert to celebrate global music. And myself, Janelle Monáe, Stevie Wonder, and then a whole lot of other amazing global artists were all brought together, but it was also to honor Stevie Wonder. So playing on this big stage with like 20,000 people, and playing on a hallowed stage where every history of music has kind of gone through, for me, was really a testament that, the journey started from just a kid who had a dream in Koforidua, and here I was, and I remember, when even I started, I remember, taking covers of Stevie Wonder, Hotter Than July, and just like, wow, one day maybe I might meet this guy, and then all of a sudden I'm standing on the stage with 20,000 people performing with Stevie Wonder, performing with, other cross-section of global artists who have been selected to come to create this incredible projection of global culture to the world on the most important stage. That moment dawned on me that I could go on for other accolades, and obviously Grammy nomination came afterwards, but that moment for me was pivotal for me as an artist. I think that we've ignored our traditional medicine for a long time. But every medicine that has cured major diseases around the world, from chloroquine to all of that kind of stuff, they've always all been synthesized from plants. But every time that anything happens here, we are always looking for outside, for the solutions to come from outside. So what I was doing was mostly, like pushing the importance of now looking at our traditions. We have trees like neem tree and all of that that has been used for years to cure respiratory diseases, and also traditional medicines that help boost immunity. And so the most important thing that we could do, because nobody knew what this virus was or what it did, but the only thing that we could do is how we strengthen our immunity to confront it. So the focus should be in terms of harnessing what we have around us, our plants and medicines. Putting more funding into, there's the plant center right here, over here, putting more medicine there, putting more grants and government funding into the university for people to now start exploring how we can be able to create our own medicines based upon our own idea of science. So I think that this provided an opportunity for us to, as I say, sink deep into who we are, and maybe as we move into a new form of economy post, now we're going to start valuing our land, because everything comes from your land. So the importance of maintaining our land. We've also now seen the importance of water, because even the whole COVID thing, water became an important thing. You constantly need to wash your hands. You constantly needed clean source of drinking water. So now we know that we don't have to be polluting our clean sources of water and diminishing our ability to have a great supply of clean water, because even I read some reports a while ago that some years to come, if we are not careful, we might be out of even clean water. So I think like all these things shows how we have to look inwards to be self-sufficient and start looking for answers from Ghanaians and start investing in our own people for solution, and trusting that we are going to be the only people who are going to carry our own baggage. Because as you see right now, the whole world, everybody's thinking of themselves. Everybody's closing their borders. So we can't constantly be outsourcing our future to others. So I think if there was any big lesson that has come out of this COVID thing, it is that we now have to start with immediate effect, focusing on Ghana, supporting Ghana, putting investment into the youth. The informal sector, which supports our economy. Government should look at how we put our interventions, loan facilities, credit facilities, training for all these young people who are there, who are ready to help in our rise as a country and also as a continent. We should now be proactive about that and take action in those sectors. I think if we're able to do that, we're definitely going to be victorious, and we'll be ready for when the next problem shows up. Medicine is not only one. It's only one point. There's different kinds of medicine. There's Ayurveda, like the Indians have Ayurvedic medicine that has been part of their culture for a long time. So when you go to India, you might think that they have the best doctors. But Indian doctors also add Ayurveda to a lot of times their treatment. So they're not throwing away their culture. They're just adding the modern science into their culture and enhancing and bringing scientific principles to validate, certain treatments and certain, active plants that have been part of their healing processes. There's never any way of, nothing tests the validity of any cure than something that has been tried for thousands of years. So we need to put more attention in that part and develop it and have, because we already, Kwame Nkrumah in a lot of our early leaders kind of saw the vision, and they put in certain places to do that, but obviously we never scaled it. But this shows us that the opportunity to maybe look into medicines and cures that are our own, that we've developed through our culture, will be the right way to go. Because when we find certain remedies, what happens is that other interests come, they take your cure, they go and do, it has to be researched before it's approved, and during that research, they find the active ingredients that are that. By the time you see somebody has patented it, rebranded it, and come and then sell the same medicine to you that you had already been using. So we just have to trust what we have, invest in what we have, and know that, the Africa, we've survived all these years. Humanity has come from here. We've survived every disease that has been part of human history till now. So our environment, there's a lot of medicines and there's a lot of things that are contained in our food and stuff that we eat that has been part of ensuring our progress as a people to right now. So we should trust it. Oh, I think that, the thing is that now they have even more advantages. As I was saying earlier, that with the internet, you can release a record today as a Ghanaian, and by tomorrow it's on Apple Music, it's on every major platform around the world. At first, you had to be signed to a record deal in somewhere in America, and then all that had to be serviced to all those outlets, and they weren't letting anybody in. There was only a few people. So the thing is that we are in a golden era. As you can see, even with like the Afrobeats music that is right now, you can find on playlists everywhere. Every club in the world you enter in, you can hear modern African pop being played and all of that. So I think that the artists right now, they just only have to organize themselves very well and have a good plan, and they also release very quality work, because I think most of them too are to some extent copying and following the trend. But what they have to know is that you don't need to follow the trend anymore. You have the platform now. This is the time to innovate. This is a time for creativity. So if you're able to become creative, you're going to stand outside of the pack. There has never been a time when creativity has been so rewarded than now. So my advice to them is that you just have to focus on writing great songs. First of all, it starts with a song, and also understand that in this industry, hype dies very quickly. Hype can get you in people's minds in the immediate, but people will follow the next big hype. What is going to be long-lasting is the legacy of great songs that you write. If all your songs sound the same, but they're trending and all of that kind of stuff, and you're getting the momentary, jolt of adrenaline of fame and all of that, you have to understand that when that scene is gone, when maybe a year or later, when the whole euphoria of the current Afrobeat sound, everybody thinks, oh, it's a sound of yesterday. It's only the artists that push the boundaries that are going to survive out of that. I want to backtrack again to talk about the industry. You see, when we compare our industry even to the Nigerian industry, I saw something about Nigerians a long time ago that I knew that it was only inevitable that they will always have at least one step in terms of the ability to project their music. First of all, Nigerians have numbers. So if it's trending on the internet, once it trends in Nigeria, it trends globally. Secondly, Nigerians support their own music. They are proud of their own music. When I started, I had a deal in Nigeria, I remember, and I traveled over there one time. I was invited by one of the Nigerian record labels. I went there, I had the opportunity of visiting, Fela's shrine, to go to, Kinsani Ade's space, Lagbaja, and all of these people. When you go every evening to these places, people throng there to support the music. And even the pop artists who are not even the cultural artists, the pop artists there, people, like Nigerians will support a Nigerian pop disco artist than a disco artist or any artist from another place. A Nigerian hip-hop artist, they will support that. You see, so it's a culture that for some reason we still have a lot more to achieve there, in terms of the overall support of each other. Because the thing is that our industry depends on each other. The bloggers would depend on the artists creating the content and the news. The radio stations need the artists to create the music so they can be able to play. But when you listen to the radio station, at least it got better. It used to be a big percentage was dedicated to foreign artists. You know, even our blogs even are doing the same thing. A lot of times, some of the news item that if it's not something that's controversial or something that has been done somewhere, they don't, there's never, there is, but I'm saying that more could be done in terms of highlighting the good stories of artists working, artists doing stuff, their life stories, without that having to be a struggle, but all of us seeing that it's a symbiotic relationship where if we support each other, we are able to elevate a scene that benefits everybody. Well, the thing is that what I've been doing is that a lot of times I share, ideas like what people need to do, because, you're stuck at home. So most important thing is the mental health aspect, so exercise is an important thing, and then also I've been sharing ideas and videos too about people focusing on their diet, because to strengthen your immune system, you need to, eat more vitamin-rich food, a lot of fruits, less meat. I'm vegetarian, so I always push for, heavy plant-based diets, and also going back to a lot of our traditional plants, because in our culture we have so much traditional plant, but sometimes in the hustle and bustle of city life, people get into their rice and chicken mode, and a lot of times we lose the enriching values of our traditional meals. So I push that too, and then traditional means of healing too, from lemongrass, creating herbal teas from different things around us, from neem tree, drinking neem tree, and also using neem tree for steaming and to boost immune system and also cure, fevers and all. So for me, I was sharing knowledge with my fan base, because in this brave new world, it's not only music that is what we share. The music is part of the inspirational medium that we create, but at the same time too, it grants us an opportunity to interact with each other to try and find a way out of this. So staying active, having a very hopeful attitude towards life, because this is not, this situation is not going to be forever. This situation shall surely pass. But to survive this situation, you just got to strengthen who you are and your mind and all of that. And then I've also done a lot of acoustic, live acoustic, performances, and also Instagram live events too, all around the world, just to keep the connection going with my fan base. And then right now too, I'm getting ready to release a new video. It's called Champion Arise. And Champion Arise also is a song that really reflects the current situation in which we are, because we need the messages of hope. We need the energy of positivity. Everything else you look is talking about, negative world, about, the disease killing millions of people, the disease infecting people, everybody's being suspicious of each other. The social fabric that has been part of us is constantly being ripped apart by the implementation of the protocols. So we have to figure out a way to circumvent this and still keep that hopeful energy alive. And I think that this song is about that. It's about celebrating the champion in all of us. And a champion is somebody who falls so many times, is knocked down so many times, but if you're knocked down 100 times, you wake up 100 times and prevail. So for me, this song celebrates the resilience of all of us, the resilience of the human race, the resilience of hopefulness, to know that we will definitely overcome this. And I think that people are going to really love, the video, because it's a very simple video, a very catchy, inspiring song, and I look forward to people seeing the video and then sharing it among all of us. Yeah. Champion arise, we shall win. Whoa, we're stronger and alive, we shall win. Let another spiritual war begin. They'll say it could not be done until they see it come. They'll say it could not be you until you know it's you, my friend. My friend. When they humble pop your bubble, they don't ever see it come. They tumble to the magic of the word and the sound forever. That's my belief. Now they come around and asking who that. Tell them it's the children of Judah, breaker of the chain and the ruler. Everybody spreading, everybody singing, everybody saying, a champion arise, we shall win. Champion arise, we shall win. Whoa, we're stronger and alive, we shall win. Let another spiritual war begin. So don't you believe everything that you've been told? You can be bought for shekels, neither with silver and gold. Cross the land, I know that story will be told. Tell it to the hills and the mountains to the west. Who that? Tell them it's the children of Judah, breaker of the chain and a ruler. Everybody saying